And you know, us sports moms have something to say.
Yes, we do.
We'll have a chance to interview across the board, from athletes to the parents to the coaches to even the trainers.
And we're not afraid to share our journey. We're not afraid to tell other moms what we went through in order to raise up a student athlete. So I believe that it's inspirational.
We able to tell our story, the good and the bad.
We can give back positive information.
Absolutely.
You know, we can empower them.
Yes, I think it's time for the mothers to be a voice.
Yes.
That's it.
It's time for us to let you know what's going on.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us, the Can We Talk Sports Show. I'm so glad to see everyone. How everyone is doing. How you ladies are doing on tonight.
Amazing.
Good. Well, I'm going to start out. I am your co-host, Kawashika, sports mom. Now community mom. Oh.
I'm Mama D. I'm Carmen, aka Mama D. I'm a sports mom. I raised all of my kids in sports, and a community person too. But more so in the past. I'm a little bit retired now, getting older. But I still love the babies and support them whenever I can.
Yes. And I am Karen Reese. I am a community mom. I love all my babies from DeSoto area. And I just love supporting our kids. And I love bringing good information to parents that can help them navigate through their kids' sports journey. And so I just want to encourage you guys to go and follow us on Instagram, YouTube, hit the subscribe button, Facebook. Tell somebody that you know that is a sports mom that needs this information that we're giving. We're dropping what they call it, some diamonds. We're dropping some nuggets.
Yes.
Nuggets.
Yeah, we're dropping some nuggets. We are bringing information that you need to know in order to help your child's journey. And we're just so excited to be a part of this show tonight.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so before we bring our guests, okay, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
I can go ahead. I think that's how excited I was. I wanted to go ahead and tell the world.
Yes.
My name is Shymika Stephenson-Davison, and I am the founder of PreCollege Solutions, a college readiness coaching and consulting company.
All right. Let's get started.
Kawashika is ready. Okay, what you got going on, Kawashika?
Yeah, so, and that's what I was going to say. Before we get started, let's just warm up. You know, today, I've been working out in the field and join new people and, come home, pick up, first, then I got to pick up the kids. And then I decided to wash my car today.
Oh, really?
Listen, it's about to get hot, guys. So I said, let me go ahead and wash my car before, it get too hot. And I was sweating. Oh, my God. I was sweating like a dog. Then I hurry up and rushed here because I said, I got to live and I got to meet this young lady that's going to get me and my daughter ready for this upcoming college. So I am excited. Thank you for coming on. Thank you. And I know it's going to help a lot of parents, knowledgeable. I mean, oh my God, I'm like in the middle. So I'm ready. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead. You can go ahead and start. I was taking your lead.
Yes, ma'am. So I know you introduced yourself. Let me just go ahead and begin with, I do have a senior, guys. My daughter, my eldest daughter, Destiny, and she will be graduating soon on June the 1st. And
Woo!
so, yes, yes, and God is so good, right? But we did start the college process a little earlier, which I believe January, but we dived in deep February. Oh, March. Oh, it got real deep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, I had some helpers at the beginning, and then, God said move forward with, other people. So now my question is, because we found out, let me say this, we found out that most of the Texas schools are allowing parents, the students, to have a tuition free. It's called zero tuition free. Of course, there are qualifications, right? You have, number one, you have to be a resident of Texas. The parent has to, income cannot be more than $100,000. The
Wow.
student has to make sure they're going to have full-time 12 credits course and then qualify for the Pell Grants, right? So I'm
Right.
excited. I'm like, yes, God, you did it.
What? Pay for
Sorry, y'all, if
school?
I'm being so, extreme, but this started actually November of 2024, right? So now we passed that hump of, the FOSFA and getting those grants, of course, but the housing and meal plan,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we at.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we at. So I'm gonna let you start from there, just giving you a little feedback on that. And
You were like, go ahead and tell me what I need to do.
tuition and tuition and fees are going to be covered, and the
Right.
financial aid did explain to me, but I'm like, I'm just anxious because we got to wait to the balance come out, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I know what you
And
mean.
see if the grants or anything fall over, right? And so my biggest thing is, to be honest with you, what scholarships now, the school has, actually, she got an offer last week, thank you, Lord.
Okay.
But it, again, more towards the tuition and fees. So I'm believing, from what I'm understanding, that any extra like scholarships can go towards the housing and meal plan, right?
That is
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. And I let you take over because
Okay.
you is
All
on
right.
the job.
So kudos to y'all, because a lot of people don't understand when it's this college prep process. When you with your child going through this process, y'all a team. Like, you feel everything they feel. They mad about something the college did, you mad about a college something did. People taking too long responding to emails, you mad. So y'all walking into this together. So I'm saying congratulations to the both of you,
Thank
because
you.
that's how it feels.
Right.
And it is. So with helping with paying, now that you kind of got tuition paying, and it's a little like it's close to the finish line.
Hmm.
Of course, I'm gonna recommend scholarships, because scholarships is, AA number one. That's the number one way to pay for things, and not having to worry about paying things back. All right. Going back to what you originally said about the school can't tell you what the balance is, so you can know like what's kind of left. That is true. A lot of parents don't know this, but they cannot charge you until your child attends new student orientation. Like,
Mm.
they can't charge you until they know the classes, how many credit hours they can charge you for, what classes your child decides to take, if that class requires additional fees and things like that. And so that's why I always tell the students that I work with, families, that you gotta get freshman orientation done as soon as possible, because that's the only way you're gonna know to the dollar amount how much you owe for the spring semester. And so until that happens, you won't know what the leftover is. So you're gonna be on edge until that
Mm.
happens. So I want to answer
Okay.
that question first.
Okay.
Uh, going back to your other question, now what can you do now? Okay, so scholarships is number one. Number two, if you know you really ain't got it, like financially, you're like, we don't got it. I don't know how she gonna come up with it. You can write what is called a financial aid appeal letter to the university. Now that takes a few weeks, and they can always tell you no, but at least you put it out there and you tried, because the way that the FAFSA is created is that it's prior year. So the same money you was making, because I'm pretty sure you were like, well, these my taxes from 2023, 20,
Right.
prior year. I ain't making that much money as I was making back then. Things have changed. Maybe I lost a job. Maybe I got sick. They don't know that. They just going off of what your financial aid said back then. So you can write financial aid. It's called a financial aid appeal, and you have to prove you have some hardship, and give them some weeks. I would say up to 4 to 6 weeks, and they'll make a decision, and they could reward your child more aid. They can find a scholarship, they can find a grant. Because let me tell you something, these colleges got the money. They got the money. They just being stingy with how they disperse it, but they got the money. There's always kids who end up
Kids calling. Sorry, y'all. Kids calling.
Oh, they always have kids that
I
don't
can't
make
even
it
hear
to
y'all
school.
now. Hold on. Give me one moment. Okay. I'm going to come out and come back because, yeah.
Go ahead, because she'll go back and listen to it. Go ahead.
Okay, well, basically, like, they have the money, they have the funds. There's always kids who end up not going to that school. What do y'all think they do with that money? They just sit on it. So it's always money at the schools. You gotta ask. So that would be the second thing I would tell her to do. The third thing is to look into installment plans. This is what I found out when I was getting my master's degree, is that, okay, maybe you owe $3,000. Instead of being like, we got to come up with $3,000 before she move in, go apply for the installment plan, get them payments cut into kind of like, for that semester, monthly payments. So it's not $3,000. It may be $700, and you can figure that thing out, and then you have more time. September 700, October 700, until the end of that semester. Now you got to pay it off by the end of the semester, or they ain't gonna let your child register for their classes in the spring. So don't think you in there good. You just keep paying. You got to pay it off though. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is, and I hate to say it, you can always get a loan. I know we're trying to stay away from a loan. I don't really recommend loans, but if a loan is stopping your child from being great, like you believe your child is going to go out there, they're going to make the grades, they're not going to play around with college, and they need to be seen as a student athlete, because that could be a potential, career for them, then go ahead and invest. You may not want to, but that's what it is. Those are probably like my 4 top things that I would say. Also, because your child is a student athlete, always go talk to the coach. The coaches, they be having budgets, and things don't be working out like they think they are all of the time. They could be sitting on some money too. So always go back and talk to the coaches, because if that school really wants your child, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. They'll go to the financial aid office and plea on your child's behalf. So those would be my top things I would say right now.
So let me ask you this, as far as the Pell Grant, my mind just went blank. So there's a maximum amount that you can get based on your income for the Pell Grant, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then after that is scholarships and loan. So I heard that there is a lot of scholarships out there that they be looking for kids to apply to give out, but the kids are not applying. Is that something that's true, that there's a lot of opportunities for scholarships?
That is 100% true. These kids are not doing scholarships. Since the pandemic, the number of kids doing scholarships have went down. I think the last time I looked at it, it was saying maybe between 30 to 40% of high school seniors are doing scholarships. And sometimes those kids who are doing scholarships, they're not doing it well. because most likely they haven't been prepped on how to do scholarships.
Mhm.
And so a lot of them are not doing it well. So you may have a child, they might tell you, I've done 15 scholarships and I didn't win one. And you'd be like, that can't be true. Not one. But you go back and read their essay and you like, oh. Or then you go back and then you see that they don't know how to fill out the application. I sit on 3 scholarship committees just here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I was looking at scholarships 2 weeks ago. Kids was not putting their address on the scholarship application. They were putting the street. They were not putting the city or the zip code. So I didn't know. I was trying to figure. I'm like, okay, do they live in Dallas? Do they live in New Orleans? Like, where do they live? And I was just like, just stuff like that. Where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like they didn't get nobody to proof this for them or anything. So that could be reasons why a lot of our kids are not winning scholarships. And then I also work with students and help them do scholarships. And believe it or not, the essay is a big deal. The kids do not want to write essays. For every one kid that is self-motivated to go and get it out the way, there's about 5 who don't. 5 who I have to coach, or I have to walk them through, or I have to, I have to get their parents involved in that type of motivating to get them to do essays. And the same argument I have with them is like, what is going to happen when you go to college? Like, this is just an essay for a scholarship. But when you go to college, that's how it works. You're going to be doing essays for the next 4 years. You might as well get comfortable with it right now, because this is probably the easiest essay. It's about you. The other ones, that's researching. That's all types of, analytical thinking, things like that. So yeah. So to answer your original question, that is 100% too. A lot of students are missing out on opportunities, scholarship opportunities, because they're not doing the essay, and there's kids who can't find scholarships. So because there's a group of kids who are willing to do scholarships, they're going hard. They write the essays, they do what they're supposed to do. They can't find the scholarships. And what I tell them and parents is that if you're looking more for local scholarships, which I highly recommend that students do a local scholarship. Versus, you should do it all of them. But all of them. I don't want nobody to say, shit, lady said, just no, do all of them.
All of them.
But you had to pick, do the local scholarships. The applicant pool is smaller. The applicant pool is a lot smaller. But also, local scholarships don't have the marketing dollars like Dr. Pepper scholarship, Whataburger scholarship. So they're a lot harder to find. And that's where students got to get connected with their school counselor. They got to get connected. They got to get plugged in on social media. All the clients I work with, I make them follow somebody, even if it ain't me, I make them follow somebody who is posting scholarships regularly, just because they will see scholarship opportunities. I tell them they need to save it, come back to them, things like that. Start creating a mental list where they can go to look for scholarships. But social media, their counselor, and for local scholarships, I tend to lean more on the parents for that, because some parents, they have connections, they know organizations that's doing local scholarships. I tell the kids, big 3. Fraternities and sororities, always giving out scholarships. Churches, always giving out scholarships. And then nonprofit organizations or scholarship foundation is probably a better search engine. Look for them locally. Those organizations are always giving out scholarships. But like I said, they don't have the marketing dollars. So you gotta look for them yourself sometimes, especially if you're not going to your high school counselor. High school counselors are the plug when it comes to scholarships. That's where a lot of these smaller nonprofit or foundations I'm speaking of, fraternities, sororities, that's who they go to, because everybody is assuming that that's where the kids are going to, but the kids ain't going. So it's just doing this, but it ain't.
A circle. I got a confession to make. Let me just make this confession real quick, Carmen, that I was filling out my kids' application because I'm like, That's affecting my money. You know, I need to make sure they get as much money as possible. So let me fill out the application.
Let me tell you something. You
Again,
ain't the
weren't you
only.
going to college with them and helping them write their papers?
Let me tell you something.
Look,
You,
I got a
Miss
question. My
Miss
question
Coleman, you
is,
ain't the only
because you
one.
mentioned social media,
Mm-hmm.
how does social media come into play? Like I've heard colleges and stuff will check the kids' social media to see what kind of student, what kind of person they are. Is that true?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. And it's a lot harder on the student athletes than
That's it.
I would say the student athletes and I'm not calling nobody dumb, but the super geniuses, the kids that be known for they got the perfect score on the ACT, the SAT, or
Mm-hmm.
all the Ivy League schools, if that's where you're trying to go, they looking up your stuff. They got to
I
see
can
they have a
see that.
reputation.
Yeah.
They can't be
Yeah, because
risking
they
their
got to hold that
reputation.
reputation. You're right.
They cannot
Right.
risk it on you. So yes, social media plays a big deal when it especially with those two groups that I just named. Now that doesn't
Uh-huh.
mean if you ain't no athlete, you can act up on social media as well, because pending they can look at you too. They don't have the time though. A lot of them don't have the time to look at each and every student. Thousands of kids get, accepted. So they don't have the time. So I say those two groups are the ones they kind of focus in on.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean kids who ain't in them two groups. That does not mean
Right.
that go clean up your social media. I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of y'all be making fake ones. They can find out about the fake ones too. I be talking to them. They know you got fake ones. So don't think
Wow.
don't think they don't know. They know.
Well, let me
Right.
tell you this. We the place we've been going to, and I can't think of it off my head. I should know it off my head, but it's like a third party scholarship um, program, a group where it's third party where you go onto that website and then it leads you. It'll say here's a 2,500, here's a 5,000, and then you click on that, and then you actually into the organization that's giving, or But I think my thing is it's like they have to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think
It,
that's my thing. Like,
it's a competition.
Yeah.
right. So every month, of course, I've noticed that they give a deadline, and so the best, because you have some that's no essays, right? You just sign in.
Don't
So which
don't
one you
trip.
think the best, the no
Don't.
essays or the essays?
Okay, that is a good question, because I have this conversation with students all the time when we talking about scholarships. If um if you are searching for scholarships and it's a scholarship that says they give them out monthly, or it's one that doesn't have an essay attached to it, that's always a red flag to me that it's
Okay.
not. It's what we call a promotional scholarship,
See, that's
and
that's
so
that's what I feel. I just couldn't put my
Mm-hmm.
it's a
finger on
promotional
it.
scholarship. And so with a promotional scholarship, anybody can make one. And basically what they do is they take your child's email address and spam it up.
Oh
Spam it
God,
up and
thank
tell
you
your
for
child
Yeah.
information for marketing. So
Really?
yeah, because if you ever go look at, like, when they talk
Yeah.
about it's a winner every month, sometimes you don't even see no winner every month.
and
They don't
so,
be
so
never
yeah.
saying who's the winner every
And
month.
nobody ever goes and check them, so you don't.
Well, you're supposed to get an email, and they steady emailing you. This is available. This is available. It just seemed like it's not going nowhere. But you hit it, promotional and marketing, and I'm like, no, this not it. This
Mhm.
Yeah.
not it. This just ain't it. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that you're on here, because my next question was, what is the best? Uh, Now I wrote it down. Just look at your notes, girl. This how I gotta talk to the Lord Jesus. Should I look into? Uh okay, so what scholarships should I look into? Or yeah, that's one of the questions.
Okay, so the best website I recommend is called JLV Consulting. Like I use this scholarship website when I'm creating like scholarship lists for my clients, just because they kind of weed out the spam scholarships, and and like you can go, they have a link, like you can go and click on it. Okay, this legit. This showing people who've won. And and that's probably one of the top scholarship links I look at. I also follow people on social media who all they do is post scholarships. There's let me see. There's a lady on TikTok. Well, not a lady, but she calls herself a scholarship coach. She's called Scholarship Mama. I follow her. I follow the Scholarship Plug. She's a scholarship coach out of Florida. I follow them, and I'm able to help my students, get scholarships or look at scholarships on a national level for them. But that's who I follow. Now, because we in Texas, believe it or not, Fort Worth ISD creates a monthly scholarship list for their ISD. It's on their like you can Google Fort Worth ISD 12th grade scholarships, and it'll take you to their ISD website. They do a list every month. That's where I find a lot of local scholarships.
Wow.
And believe it or not, a lot of school districts, because they can't afford, I guess Fort Worth ISD has a department or something. I don't know. But a lot of school districts I've talked to, they like, yeah, I use Fort Worth ISD. They already put it on their website. I'm not finna go. We're not finna research those scholarships. We just gonna use their list.
Right.
A lot of them give to their school districts too. Grapevine, Colleyville ISD, they have a website where their students can go, and they do the same thing. Go on there, local scholarships for Tarrant County.
So, can you really explain the whole thing about with the tuition being paid for those kids who are going to Texas? Does that really mean? And then I said tuition. There's a difference between tuition and housing and food. So, can you really explain what that means, so parents don't be like, my kid's going free if they going to a Texas school? Can you just kind of dig into that and explain that?
Yes. Okay. So I'll talk about what you're actually paying for when your child goes to college. I'll talk about that first, then I'll go back to the free tuition for the Texas schools. All right. So the the Department of Education, we still have it, thank the Lord. They determine like the whole what gets paid for in colleges. And so the main things that gets paid for is called cost of attendance. And the top thing is the tuition. Tuition is actually you paying for your child to take classes and learn from that university. So whenever your child telling you they taking classes, that's tuition. All right. Now, while your child is, getting their tuition paid and things like that, their class could also have what is called fees. So if your child is a STEM major taking nursing classes, they might have to take a lab, or they might have to do some extra stuff. So their classes will come with additional fees. So that's where the tuition and fees part come in, because your child is needing extra stuff to go with them learning. That's where the fees come. So tuition and fees. So bam, you got to pay for that. Now after that comes university's fees that they don't never like to talk about, but you're paying for those as well. So all the little fun stuff, the student activities fees that your child got to pay, that your child be having fun getting free t-shirts, they prepaying for that. That's in the tuition. But it's called student fees. Them let me see. They're getting the technology fee, them being able to have Wi-Fi all over campus whenever they want to, use the library, things like that whenever they want to. That's in the fees. So when you hear the fees, that's all that encompasses, all that types of stuff. All right. So after tuition and fees, you have housing/room boarding. All right. So that is them being able to stay on campus, whether it is a dorm or it is an apartment. That is paying for that. And that varies based on if your child gonna stay in a dorm where they have roommates and stuff like that, it's a little small quarter, or if they going to go live in an apartment where they may get their own room, but they're sharing space with some other people. So those prices vary. So you're paying for that. Now, because they are living on campus and they do have housing / room and board, they got to eat. The university is not gonna not charge. They have to eat. If they say they living on campus, you cannot sign nothing to say, nah, I just want them to live on campus. I want them to eat. They come together. They a tag team. They come together. So if you paying for room and board, you also paying for meal plan or dining.
Got it.
As they call it. So that depends. That plan depends on whatever you and your child decide. You know, it could be a certain number of meals a week your child uses. It could be that they want some cash attached to that meal plan, so they go eat at different little places on campus, like Chick-fil-A and little pizza places, things like that. But basically, you pick them out. The university don't pick that out, just like the university does not pick your room and board unless you wait too late to turn that housing application in. They definitely gonna pick where you live. So that's that. And then after that, that's typically the main things that you have to pay for when your child goes to college. Now, you may see on your FAFSA where it says stuff like personal expenses and things like that, or transportation, or books. The university does not pay for any of those things. They include that in when they're telling you how much college is going to cost, but they're only giving an estimate. They don't have no real price because they don't know what classes your child taking. They don't know what meal plan they're going to pick. They don't know where they're going to live. So that's an estimate, but that money comes out of you and your child's pocket. So be prepared to pay for books. The university not paying for that.
Paying for the books.
Yes, books. Books. Be prepared to pay for personal expenses like laundry detergent, soap, deodorant, any personal items your child needs to survive. You pay for that out of pocket. Things like that. And then transportation. If your child brings a car on campus, they are going to have to pay a parking pass. So they can park anywhere on campus and not get a ticket. But if your child not bringing no car, then you ain't got nothing to worry about until they start getting on you about they want a car. But please know, your child probably gonna want to get off campus, so they probably gonna be asking you for some Uber. They probably gonna be asking you for some Lyft. That's gonna come out of your pocket.
Gotcha.
And so that's typically college, like the payment of college. Top 3: room and board, meal plan, tuition and fees, and then you pay for the other stuff. So I know graduation is approaching. You might want to tell them to hold off on spending their graduation money because they might need to help with books and personal items and some other stuff when they get to campus. Now, going to the tuition, the Texas free tuition. Now, this program has been around for a while. They be renaming it, but as long as I've been doing this college prep stuff for about 15 years, this has always been around. And
I didn't know that.
So I didn't either. Did not know.
Yeah, it's been around. Yeah, it's been around for forever. Well, as long as I've been doing this, I've always seen it. I don't know why high school counselors don't talk about it a lot more. But
I thought it was you maybe had to have a certain grade in order to get tuition paid.
I thought it was if you were valedictorian or salutatorian. Like
that's Miss Corman, that is a good question. So there in the state of Texas, there is what is called the top 10, except for UT and Texas A&M. Theirs is called the top 6 and the top 7. So if you are the top 10% of your graduating class, you get automatically accepted into any Texas public school. Heavy on the public. You're not getting accepted to TCU because you're top 10%. But any public school, yes. If you are in the top 6% and you want to go to UT in Austin, then you automatically get accepted to the University of Texas at Austin. If you're top 7%, Texas A&M, you get automatically accepted Texas A&M. Now, none of that comes with any scholarships of nothing. I think a lot of kids be thinking, oh, I got in, but none of that covers them paying. You basically just got in. They don't
You
mean
just
they're
got
helping pay for
accepted, right?
anything.
Got you.
Yes. And a lot of
Right.
kids, they they feed off of that. And I'm like, they not gonna give y'all no money unless y'all pull up these SAT and ACT scores. So you are right, Miss Corman and Miss Karen. That is a thing, and that's always been around as well. But for the Texas public, that's different. That is a different program, and the way that the students are chosen are based on their financial aid. So,
Got it.
if you need financial aid, see, I wish counselors talked about this a lot more. If you meet a certain financial aid standard or a certain number, then you are eligible, heavy on the eligible, because not everybody gets picked to be this top Texas, to be in this free tuition public Texas university. So first you got to meet the financial aid qualification, and then some of those schools have a GPA requirement. And I think you were saying that, Ms. Karen. Most of the time it's 3.0 or higher. But the school's Office of Financial Aid picks those students. And not every student gets that, and most students don't find out if they do get that until the spring semester of their senior year. So that's the program that y'all
they was thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the Texas for the zero. They call it what they call it.
What I was just talking about. That's the program I'm talking about. The Texas Zero. That's the program. That's the program I was talking about.
Oh, okay. You just call it Texas Public.
Yeah, I was calling it Texas Public, but the Zero. I said they'd be changing the name. It used to be that.
Yeah.
But the Zero, what you're saying, that's what I was just talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to wing that in where we at.
So I have some question. I have a question about, I know last year, and I didn't have a student in college, so I didn't follow it as closely, but wasn't there problems with people getting their Pell Grant money and the Pell Grants going through? Wasn't there a problem?
So that was 2 years ago. Yes, ma'am. I know what you're talking about. We were calling it the FAFSA debacle. It was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. And what happened was the financial aid changed its application. For 150 years, it had been the same application, but and they wanted to change it, but then the pandemic happened. Like they were supposed to change it in 2019, and then the pandemic happened, and so they delayed it just because of the pandemic, and so they rolled it back out 2 years ago. And so what happened was the government didn't understand the financial aid process like they thought they did. And so because they didn't, I guess, I don't know who was the head leader of all of putting that together, they didn't understand the timeline. So I don't know if you might remember, but they kept pushing back when the FAFSA was supposed to open. Like it was supposed to open in October. Then they said, oh, it's opening in December. And people like us who were in this field was like, ooh, that's kind of cutting it close, because the timeline for when people start finding out if they getting Pell Grants, scholarships, people, having to make college decision day, stuff like that. We were like, ooh, that's cutting it close. And then come to find out, they rolled out this process, and then the website crashed, and they didn't know how to fix it. And it took weeks. And so people couldn't submit their financial aid. And this was not just happening to new students. This was happening to the students that was in college. So this was already too. This was happening to people who get masters and doctoral degrees who also, apply for financial aid or needed to verify certain. It's like this was happening to a whole plethora of people, and people were getting upset because it wasn't getting fixed fast enough. It was delaying money. Universities were like, well, I can't give out no money because the federal government they don't know how much to give out because the website is broken. And that was the big debacle. And it took it's still scary to think about in this field. Everybody's still like, okay, is it gonna be okay this year? Like this year, the rollout was nice. The rollout was nice. Like nobody had an issue. But the year before that, they had a couple hangups. But the year before that was horrible. It made national news. And FAFSA don't never be making no national news. So I knew it was bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any scholarships that designated specifically for housing and meal plan?
The deadlines have passed for them. To
For
be
those?
honest, most scholarships where like the deadline is usually January, February. Yeah, for the ones I know off the top, January and February. There are still scholarships around because I don't want parents to get discouraged and be like, dang, they finna graduate. It ain't no more scholarships. Scholarships be running all the way through the end of June. Now, once July hit, it starts getting real scarce. And then, of course, they don't be giving out those scholarships because the kids are about to get ready and start school. But there are still scholarships out there right now. They kind of hiding a little bit, but they still out there. And then, I can send you a list because I send lists to my clients all the time. Like I just sent them a list of 5, like Sunday, Saturday, something like that. Because, we all want to go to college for free. Oh, somebody said repeat the link. Oh, JLV Consulting.
Yeah.
I should have I guess I could have put in the chat. But that's what I use.
That's another question. What they say, Miss Karen?
DeSoto also have a list of scholarship per grade level. People don't know they can start applying in elementary.
Oh, that was a question.
Yeah.
We had talked about when to start.
When we start, yeah.
You are right, LaShawn. I hope I said your name right. But you are right. People can start getting their child to apply for college apply for scholarships as early as elementary school. This is the thing though, because I be telling people to apply for scholarships, they don't be doing it. They're not going to call it a scholarship. What they're going to call it is a contest, or they're going to call it a writing competition. And I recommend that everybody gets their child, if possible, to participate in these writing competitions, in these contests, because that's how you start shaping the mind frame of our kids. Yeah. If they see, oh, I won this for writing a paper. I won $500. I won $1,000. Oh my gosh. People telling them how smart they are because they wrote a paper. Now they get money for it. Like that's how we start changing the mind frame of our kids to get them to see that there is value in education. Like education does pay, and it can pay as early as middle school. I have another colleague, and her nephew's goal, or their family goal, is to have him have $5 million in scholarships by the time he becomes a senior. And he's 9 right now, and he's at 1.1 million. Just applying for like scholarships for being an elementary school student. And writing stuff, and if it's a drawing contest, if it's an oracle contest, just putting himself out there, and they just basically been racking it up and not touching it. And right now he's at 1.1, I think 1.5, 1.1 or 1.2, something like that. She told me, because they have an Instagram account, so they keep up with it and they show people.
Oh wow, what they gonna do with $5 million? What school they gonna?
They said
lawyer or something.
They basically said they wanted him to be able to have the opportunity to go to any school he wanted to. They didn't want a financial. They didn't want him to say, "Well, I chose this school because I know y'all can't afford it." That's the family's whole thing, and so that's and they all build up on it. They all help him whatever he needs and things like that. So,
wow. Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so say for instance, you do start from elementary, is there like a fund that you put the money in and let it sit somewhere, or it's already deposited to the parents? Like it got, because I'm hoping it's like a savings plan or a fund that just stay where you can't touch it, if that makes sense.
You're right. That's a good point. I can tell you what I recommend, because there's no set like fund. There's what the parents decide is the best, for their child. It's called the 529 plan. It
That's what I was thinking
used
about.
to be called educational IRA. The only thing I don't like about that plan is that your child got to go to college. If they don't
If you open it up,
if you open it up and they got to go to college, because if they don't go to college, they're not gonna give you your money. They're only gonna they're not gonna give your child their money. Let's say your child decide, I want to be an entrepreneur, and not go to college because I got this money y'all be saving for me. And they're gonna be like, no, you put it in this 529 plan. It's got to be for educational purposes.
Wow.
Okay. So
that's
they
the only thing I don't like about that plan.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
No. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like all that money saved up, is it put up like in a plan, or like you said, So
I would say money market account. That's what a money market account. Just make sure it's secure and nobody has access to it. Except the parents, things like that. Your child can't access it, without y'all.
Say that again. Can you repeat that again?
I said I would recommend money plan.
Parent can't access it. That's what she wants you to talk.
A money market account, which you can find at any brokerage like company, like Edward
Jones.
Thank you. That's who I was thinking about. Them, and just have it to put all the protections you want on it. Like, hey, he can't touch it, until he's 18. We can't touch it.
Exactly.
Things like that.
Nobody in the family can touch it.
Pretty much. So yeah. So
I have a question. I had a parent that she was saying that when her son got his scholarship and he got a Pell Grant, she made sure that the coaches did not add that Pell Grant into his scholarship, because that was two separate things and it didn't have anything to do with the sports scholarship. Can you comment on that?
Okay. So yes, that's kind of hard to do. I want to see, she must have threatened that coach for dear life. Because that's kind of hard to do, because typically the university, they share that information. That's probably how the coach knew, but they share that information, with the coaches, financial aid, especially if a scholarship is athletic scholarship is being offered, they could share if he's Pell eligible and all of those good things. So he must have been scared of her, because usually, from what I understand, let's just say your friend's son received an academic scholarship from the school, and then also received a athletic scholarship from the school. And she was basically, she basically said, well, I want y'all to use the athletic scholarship because, that's what we signed up for. Right. Typically, what they would do is the financial aid office, not with the coach, will look at everything and say, this is how much, this is how much, you said you wanted to give this person for the athletic scholarship. Is this still true? Do you want to lower this amount? Because we see that this person gets financial aid. Mm-hmm. And since they get financial aid, we can get the financial aid from the government and subtract what you was going to give them. And basically piece together a full ride without using all of the athletic budget. And that happens more often than you think.
I think she had them to detail what is a full ride. When you come and say what's a full ride, what does that include? So if it includes tuition, housing, and room and board and food. So then when you go to pay for your fees and you see them deducting some of your Pell Grant to pay for housing, you say no, because that's included in the full ride. And I think that's what she held him to make sure that what you said was included in that full ride, that it did not get it deducted from his Pell Grant, because that was just free money.
Mm-hmm. And coaches, I ain't gonna speak on coaches because there's some nice coaches out there, but you have to hold them coaches accountable, because I mean it's their budget, you know. All of this is coming out of, you know, their budget. And so, you know, if you're not a parent that's staying on it, they will do that. They will, you know, piece together this alleged full ride, but they're truly taking money from the student. They're taking their financial aid, you know, I mean, their Pell Grant money, and just kind of subbing it out. And this happens a lot with students who go to college as well that are academically smart. Like, you know, like if somebody went to Harvard and Harvard was like, oh, they're Pell eligible, you know, we promised them a full ride, but that's after, you know, we take the financial aid money out. And who knows, the student may have been wanting to use that financial aid money to live off on. Right. You know, and so you have to, so the parent that you're talking about, she did a good job of staying on it. Not every parent stay on it.
Yes, you hear that, parents. When your kid is being given a foot ride, have the coaches detail what that means. And then you apply for your FAFSA and you get $6,000 Pell Grant or whatever that number is. Then you go, when you take your kid to school, you go and look at those numbers and see where that money is being applied, and you hold them to what they said.
And just to add on to what Ms. Karen is saying, make sure you don't sign anything until they outline what it's going to look like, because I have a client right now. He's a student athlete and he's going to East Central Oklahoma University on a football scholarship. And so they told him he had a full ride, and he just went, him and his parents went inside the paperwork, didn't let nobody look at it. And I looked at it and I'm like, they're using your FAFSA as a part, like right here, you signed, but you said it was okay. So now y'all gotta help him, like support him, because he can't get a job if it'll be hard for him to get a job as a student athlete. And parents who's on the call, on here listening, it will be very difficult for your child to get a job as a student athlete, which means you will be helping support their life financially, especially during playing season. So you might want to have a little fun for that.
Yeah. Just understanding that. So I have what about with FAFSA? You know, you have kids that this is kind of stuff that's happening a lot where you know, 2-parent household is you put them in there, and then they automatically don't apply or disqualify for Pell Grant. And then be like, okay, don't put your daddy's income on there, just put your mama's income. And then you have to go to the financial aid people, and you got to keep this whole little lie going. I only live with my mama, I don't live with my daddy. And so do you have to educate people on that kind of stuff?
Yes, because let me tell you something. That used to be the game back in the day. The FAFSA, the Department of Education, the FAFSA got smarter. They have gotten smarter since then.
Right.
With this reboot of the FAFSA that I was talking about 2 years ago, they did. Mm-hmm. There are certain questions in there that, you know, the way that it's worded, you know, they put, you know, is your mom remarried? You know, does your stepdad contribute to the household? Do you live with him? You know, because technically you're supposed to be putting the stepdad's income or mom, stepdad or mom, income in there if you live with them, regardless if they give a dime or not. That's one of the new kind of stipulations that's been put in the FAFSA since they kind of rebooted a couple of years ago. So you can be untruthful if you want to, but if they catch you, that penalty. You could get away with it a couple years ago, but they just got a little smarter. So I'm just saying, be careful, because
so it's not based on who claims you on your taxes. So you know, if the parents are doing whatever they're doing with taxes, and one parent is claiming the kid on their taxes, and that's the taxes you have to upload to the FAFSA, is it not based on who's claiming that child on your taxes as far as how the FAFSA works?
Yes, it's still like that. You're right, Ms. Karen. It's still like that, but what I'm saying is the FAFSA has added more questions because now they're like, okay, you live by yourself, but are you married? I mean, you know, he's on your tax return, you know, but are you married? You know, did you remarry? You know, does the stepdad stay in the home? Like, it's asking those type of questions. I know you saw it because you probably just recently did it. It was asking all types of stuff.
What they say?
So they kind of catching on. They kind of catching on. So be careful. I did a workshop in Louisiana this past November, and the mom and the dad, they were like, we make over $100,000 in our household. You know, he's not eligible for anything. And they were like, you know, what could we have done differently? Can we do anything differently? And I was telling her that the way that FAFSA works is they do a year prior. So like the information that you're giving them is from your child's probably junior year, like sophomore, junior year. Yeah. So if you wanted to get separated, then that would be the time. I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying, I don't know your marriage, but I'm just saying that is the time to really
strategize.
To strategize, you know, and figure things out. I had a parent I worked with years ago, and as soon as her children entered, she had 2 children, a boy and a girl. As soon as her children entered high school, she became a stay-at-home mom. And her husband he took a demotion. Like, he was a manager and he took a demotion, which I thought was weird. But then when it came time for the FAFSA, they was eligible for everything. They were eligible for everything. And, you know, and so I talked to her and I was like, did y'all do that on purpose? I thought I ain't gonna tell nobody. And she was like, I'm just trying to play the game. And I was like, I was like, so you ain't gonna work for 4 years? She was like, if that means my children don't have to have no student debt, if that means like we got all these free resources, if that means this, she was like, yes. And she said, and once they get into college, she said, after their junior year, I will return back to work. She was like, it's just a minor convenience for a bigger picture.
Wow.
So, and they did. They both graduated debt free. And I still keep up with them today. And so the mom went back to work. She went back to work once they became the youngest one became I think a sophomore or junior in college. She went back to work. And I was just like, Wow. So we do what we gotta do.
Yeah, because I want to let you know I'm 57, about to be 58, and I still owe a student loan. And I probably borrowed about 8,000. Now it say I owe 50,000. I'm like, I didn't even borrow 50,000. It's been 40 years. I haven't seen if Bush forgave it yet, but I'm just like, those loans are something to just kind of stay away from. And then with me being in tax business, I knew a lot of people, like right before they got their taxes, they would go in deferment with those student loans. And those student loan people will automatically approve you, and then they would charge you so much interest rate. And you're just doing it just to be able to get your tax return, $5,000, not knowing that you just paid $5,000 of interest rate on student loans to get your tax return. It's a setup.
It's a setup.
It's a setup. It's a trap. So can you just share with some parents on what they can do to kind of get ahead of this, as far as, every month when the kid have a baby, put $5 in the bank account every month for the next 18 years. Do you have some practical things that you could kind of educate a parent on what they can do to help save money for college?
Okay. This is I hope I remember all of them, but when I do workshops, I do what's the 7 ways to pay for college without student loans. And so the first way, I'm always gonna go triple down on scholarships. Scholarships. The second thing is, now in Texas, I mean, not just in Texas, but everywhere, y'all know there's a big push on students getting in P-Tech programs. Students taking dual credit courses. Students basically getting their associate's degree while they're in high school.
Yeah, my daughter, my junior is doing that. Yeah,
I would say that is an amazing way to help pay for college, because that knocks off a year to possibly 2 years, of like, you don't got to pay for college.
Right.
You don't got to pay for college, and it really helps those students who plan on going to college to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, those fields that they know they're gonna need a master's, a doctorate degree to like be in. It truly helps those. So any kid that I know want to be a doctor, want to be a lawyer, about to commit to 5-10 years of college, of school, go on get that associate's program. Go on get that while you're in high school, so you don't have to worry paying about 2 years. So I would say get your child started with that as soon as they are a freshman. Don't wait. Don't give them the option. Be like, this is what we're doing. You said you want to be an engineer. This is how you can approve it. We're about to put you in P-Tech, about to put you in in this associate's program at your school. The third thing I would say is try to get your child to take the SAT and the SAT and the ACT test serious. Like, if you have to get them tutoring, test prep, things like that. But the SAT and the ACT, they are, like, to me, a hidden secret that a lot of us don't know about. Because if your child makes an extremely high score on the SAT and the ACT, those colleges will be throwing money at them to come to their school. Like full rides, just like you to start athlete, you are the star academic person, and they would throw money to help you pay for school. There is another test that College Board does, and the College Board are the people who make the SAT. It's called the CLEP test, and it's basically a college level exam placement test that you can take in substitution to a college course. So if you have a child and they are very good in chemistry, and I mean amazing, they just killing it, go on the College Board website, pay the $90 for them to take the chemistry CLEP test, and then if they pass it, they don't have to take that class in college.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, wow.
And it's CLEP, CLEP.
Yep, CLEP. On the College Board website. They don't have to, and it's only cost, I don't think it's went up. I ain't looked at it in some months, but it was $90 the last time I looked at it. But it's like test by exam. College course gone. Don't even have to take it no more. And they have several courses that all you have to do is look at your child's degree plan and see if that connects to that. You're like, okay, you need to take this, so you don't have to take this in college. $90 versus probably $1,000 the university charges, makes a big difference. That's another way. Of course, I always got to throw this in. The military is always an option. And if your child doesn't want to do the military, there's ROTC on campus. There is National Guard on campus. I mean, not on campus, but it's National Guard. They can sign up for these programs as well. Serving the country, getting a small little stipend, and getting college paid for at the same time.
And it'll be a full ride.
It will, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, it will. My only thing, this is just me personally, nothing against them. My only thing is if a child does go to the service, as that they want to do that because they want to be able to have college paid for, just know you're not immediately going to college. Like I have this conversation with the kids all the time. They think I'm gonna sign up, then I'm gonna be in classes in the fall. I'm like, no, you're gonna be in boot camp. And then at boot camp, they gonna send you to your training camp. That's gonna be some money. You ain't going nowhere the fall semester. You gonna be on whatever. You'll be shocked how I'm telling y'all the stories I could tell. You will be shocked what these kids think reality is. I'm like, no, you're going to be. I was like, you might not get on a college campus for close to a year after you've been in the military, just because they have to train you up to what is the job they want you to do because they're paying you.
Right.
So the job. So things like that. Another way to pay for college is your child can work. I think we forget this. They can work. They can get a job. They can
While they're
work.
in college.
They can work while they're in college. They can work before they go to college.
Work study program, is that what you're talking about? The work
I'm
study
talking
program?
about a real job. That work study job is for fun. I'm talking about a real.
No, it's a work study program, right?
So okay. What I'm talking about is a real job, but there is a such thing as a work. You bringing up a good point. I'll talk about work study in a second.
Okay.
But no, I'm saying a real job, like a real working at the cafeteria at your school, or you
working at McDonald's,
and not going and spending the money on nails and brows, like actually putting that money away.
Yeah.
Not Uber eating everything because you think you got it now, you don't made it. No, actually saving that money and putting that money away. That is another way to pay for college. And then this is what I like to tell parents when they ask about, well, how do we pay? Like, we're trying to figure out how to pay for college. I told them they need to do the 2 for 2. And the 2 for 2 is 2 years. You have a serious conversation with your child and you say, hey, I don't got it. We got to work together to make this happen. So that means you need to do your part, which is applying for scholarships, which is possibly working, which is you contributing some way financially. The first 2 years you are in college, if you can. The first 2 years you're in college, I need to see some type of financial commitment from you to make this happen. And then once you hit junior year, because once they hit junior year, they gonna graduate. It has to be something really bad to have happened for them, because they know they're gonna put in too much sweat equity. So they gonna be, I'll be here 2 years. I just got 2 left. I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna figure it out. And then that's where the parents step in, because the last 2 years typically be the hardest years academically for your child to graduate from college. Like they get into their major, and it's a lot. And so that's when I tell the parents that of 2 years that they was playing, that they had it, you should have been saving so you can have it. And then
that's a good plan.
Years. Take care of them them last 2 years that they are in college, so that the goal is to not get as much, even if you have to get some loans, not to get everything in loans. Everything. Let's try not to get everything in loans. And so, but that's what I would tell parents is to those are some small ways to, like, okay, how do we try to figure this out financially. My number one thing is have the talk with your child. I meet so many kids, clients or not, where because the parents have done for them their whole life, not knowing if you've had to struggle on the back end, just know that you just showed up for them, that they think you got it. They think you got it. And and the parents gonna tell me, I don't got it. I was like, you need to tell them you don't got it. Don't tell them. You need to tell them you don't got it. Because what happens is they don't put in 100%, because in the back of their mind, you are their backup plan. And you can drop $5,000 a semester. You know,
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
well, you've been paying for all my track stuff. You've been taking me to games. You take me to eat every day.
Mm.
You let me ball out for homecoming. You got me
Yeah.
a car. You give me a phone every
Now
time
you don't
it's
got
time to
it. Yeah.
replace it. You know, they think you got it, and you on the back
Yeah.
end like I've never had it. I just did it, but I never had it. And yeah, so
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. What you're saying is really having that question. I mean, that conversation. And so I remember because I decided to go to college at the last minute. And when I had my daughter, I wanted her to experience college. And um, so I went all out, bells and whistle, but it turned out she only stayed there a year and a half, and then she came home and did a career college and ended up finishing and becoming an LVN. And so there, I, I'm just like, if I had the conversation, do you really want to go to college? Because here, we're what, $20,000 in debt just for me to say she went off to college. She had fun that first year. I was hoping that she grew up, but she didn't. But anyway, I paid, versus just saying, hey, do you want to just go to a career college, become an LVN here, and pay less money and just get it done? So those are conversations that parents truly need to have with their kids as far as
yes,
what they want to do and what's the best route to do it.
yes.
I totally agree. And I think it's because even with those career or trading school, they're expensive too. Because
They,
that's where my student loans came from. I remember going to ATI.
mhm,
They're no longer around.
mhm,
And then I went to Remington College.
mhm.
And trust me, they are high. They
Yeah.
are high too. So, and God is so good. And I had to tell my testimony because, I'm like you, Miss Karen, or was like you, where I had student loans all the way up to last year. I believe it was last year, and under something, whatever Biden forgiveness, it's gone. So, but dealing with that, because in the middle of that, so that's a long time.
Yeah.
Literally from what, 18 to 45, I just say that.
Mhm.
That's a long time to carry that weight, to carry
Yeah.
that debt. It's like a weight on your shoulder. And you're right, when it comes to income tax, go put them on deferred.
Yeah.
All of that is true, right? So I want people to know worldwide, a lot of parents, like, I'm glad you're doing this because this is educating us what not to do and what to do. A lot of parents do not want their kids to be in debt. We
That's true.
don't.
That's true.
Don't get it twisted. And I say that for a reason.
Yeah.
So this was wonderful when Miss Karen called me and said you was coming on. I said, this is right on time. See, God know what you need. We
Yeah.
can't leave him out.
That's true.
So, yeah, he's my plan B and my plan A. How
Mhm.
about that? So with that being said, we're going to, the scholarships, because with my oldest daughter, I want her to be student. I want her to be debt free. If we can get close to I mean, I'm talking about 1%. If it's 1%, I can deal with 1% versus 100%, because like I said, I don't want her to do no student loans, to be honest with you, at all. And God knows that. So yeah, I appreciate this, and I'm gonna take all the advice that I can, because she's going for nursing. I will say that.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
That's a
she's
good
going for
deal.
nursing. And my last question will be, what schools you think is best for nursing?
Staying in Texas or don't
Texas,
matter.
staying in Texas. We're not going nowhere.
Um,
Well,
Texas Woman's. Texas Woman's is
the
top
okay,
top public school. I would say the top
okay.
public school. And I know I've had some kids go through Texas Woman's, talk about how after once they get into the nursing part, like have
Mhm,
them go to the campus in Dallas, and
mhm.
like how they talk about like they learn so much, it's helped them so much.
Wow, wow.
That some I've seen uh Sam Houston.
Sam Houston.
State.
Okay.
Sam Houston. That's a good one. Almost any school in Houston is a good one. Only because Houston is like the top medical hub in the nation.
Okay.
They have the cancer centers there, the cancer hospitals. So
Okay.
like depending on where your daughter wants to study, if it is cancer, like she'll be with like where everybody wants to be in the hub of the
In the
medical
hub.
district in Houston. So they'll be my top three.
And guess what? One of them is in the top 3. You can't let your left know from your right until it's done. But it's done in Jesus' name. But yeah. I'm telling you, you just gave all these nuggets out. Listen, guys, whoever watching, I hope you took notes. I hope you be prepared.
Oh, I want to go back to your work study. You had a work study question.
Yes.
I don't want to leave nothing undone. Because I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna tell them about this. So work study is under financial aid. So when you get your financial aid awards letter, just like they talk about, you get grants, you get loans. Your child can also be eligible for work study. And but the university picks who gets work study. And so you won't know. So like you won't see it on your FAFSA. Like when you get the FAFSA, they be like, "Oh, this your FAFSA score," or whatever. You won't see it on there. You'll only see it when your child gets their awards letter, and it'll have how much money they're gonna get for work study, and the amount for work study be so low because the whole goal of work study is to provide some income, but not a lot because they want you to study. They want you to be a college student. Like that is the focus. So if your daughter gets work study, then she could be doing like 10 hours a week working, making maybe $300 a week, maybe $400 a week. And so their whole goal is that we want to give you some money, but we ain't trying to we want you to focus on being in school for academics. So that is work study. If your child doesn't get selected for work study, go talk to the financial aid office and see if there's spots available. Because like I said earlier, not everybody goes to that university. They might decide 2 weeks before it's time to go, they don't want to go to college anymore. And then that spot is available. So you should always go check if you don't see your child, like you want them to do work study, but you ain't seeing on none of their stuff. Go check that out. They be having a lot of openings that first week or two of college starts.
But see, that money, what I'm thinking in my mind, that money can go towards the housing. That's what I was thinking, or something like that. No,
they pay that money to the student every month, like a job. So the way that it's written on the financial aid awards letter will make you think, oh, it's gonna help pay for the. They gonna get it to your child like a regular paycheck.
But Kawashka, one thing that she said that if you have a balance, you can ask for installment payments.
Oh yes,
and then if you ask for installment payment, where if you have a balance of $5,000 and you got 5 months to pay it, $1,000 a month. Where if that child is working on work study, they can use some of that money to help make those monthly payments.
Oh, okay. See, I missed that.
Yeah. I think that's when you had logged off and then logged back in. I was talking about the installment plans is another way to help pay for college.
So that was number 3. What was number 4?
Oh, we don't know. I don't remember the order. You got to go back and listen to it again.
You remember? You said it was 4 ways. I got 2, and then the devil is a lie. No, yes, these scholarships. You said financial aid appeal letter.
The installment plans. That was number 3.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably have to go back and she's gonna go back and listen to it anyway.
Okay. Okay.
But before we go, can you tell it? I got your website, but can you go ahead and share, what you can offer if parents need help, and share how they can reach you and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. So PreCollege Solutions, again, is a college readiness coaching and consulting company. We help students get ready for college. That could look like you needing us to come help your child for maybe the first 3 months of their senior year. And we get with the parent. We draw up what services we feel like they're going to need to in that 3-month plan. We create a goal. I give you a timeline. I give you the services that's going to happen. And then we start that contract, and parents receive, every time we have a session, parents receive what I call a debrief report. So you know every single thing we did and ways that you can support them in that area. So that's one of our services. We call it our one-on-one coaching. We do group coaching, where maybe it's the parent and the child and they want to work together, maybe just work on scholarships, come up with a plan of how to do scholarships, or they want to work on a college application process, and we do the same thing, come up with a plan, a goal, work on that for however many months you want to work on that, and then you get charged monthly for that. We do group presentations. Maybe it's a family reunion coming up and you need somebody to talk about college prep. Maybe it's church youth ministries. Maybe it's a friend group. Your kids got kids, and all of them is seniors and you or juniors, and you need somebody to just come start letting them know this how it's gonna be. We do group presentations and things like that. We also sell products. One of our most popular products is called the College Made Easy Checklist. It's $20. It's on our website, and it's basically from freshman year to senior year. What should you be doing every month? Like, what should my child be doing as a sophomore in the month of December to get them college ready? And you can check it out as you go. But our biggest thing that we are doing is this summer, we are doing what we call Parent Prep Academies. And so it is a 3-hour workshop where we're going to be breaking down the college application process, how to win at scholarships and financial aid for parents of teenagers, just so you can be aware of what these processes and things look like. Because at the end of the day, you end up being your child's college prep coach. And so the more you know, the more off they will better be. That's what the research tells me. Y'all know, y'all can help them better than anybody else can.
Yes. And her website is going across the screen. So if you can reach out to her on her website, I'm sure she has the classes on all the events that she just spoke of are on the website.
Yes. And follow us on social media at PreCollege Solutions, all platforms.
And I just had one more question, and it's only because the last year or so AI is so popping. So does with the applying for the scholarships, do you let AI help the kids with the applying for the essays? How do you are they blocking the kids for using AI to apply for the scholarship?
That's a good question.
Okay. I'm glad you asked this question. So I sit on 3 different scholarship committees in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And this year, we can tell. We can tell when the students are using AI, and when they use AI, they get disqualified. 2 of those scholarship foundations are used AI writing checkers. So like they basically put the child's essay in, and it can tell what percent AI wrote, and so that automatically disqualifies you for writing the essay. So thank you for the scholarship. And so please know, teenagers, if you think that you are outsmarting the system, you are not. This might be another reason why you're not winning scholarships. Because
that makes sense.
Because we know that you are using AI, and people are not going to reward you scholarships for that. It's low-key plagiarism. And you need to learn that word before you go to somebody's college. Because
let me speak up for AI now. I'm older. I don't spell well, and I don't have it in my head exactly on how to say it. So I'm still feeding AI. Go write an essay. I was a young girl, grew up in Morton, Arkansas. And my mama was a single mama, and we lived on a farm, and we don't have the financial aid. So AI is gonna go and make it sound good. I still put it in there. So how is it that I'm disqualified because AI made it sound better?
So, and your essay would have been disqualified. You got to write that thing out. You got to write that thing out. You can't just say AI to tell my whole life story in 3 seconds. We want to be able to feel your essay off the pages. And believe it or not, the kids whose essays, like one scholarship foundation I sat on, we picked the top 5 kids. And then after we picked the top 5 kids, we were like, okay, we got to run their essays through the AI checker. And then if it pulls up, they automatically disqualify. It was only one person out of that 4 whose essay came up, as AI, which means we are still craving like authentic words, authentic thoughts, like how the kids process it, writing the essay.
See, I'm gonna have to come up with AI checker how to block.
They on
Facebook. Some teenager right now that's
come up with something like how to be blocked, how not to be And so, this has been amazing. Our parents
too. Yeah, I want to say this too. During the process, just giving some nuggets too. Within the school too, they have where the kids can do essays. That's if no one didn't know, where they can do essays and they'll give them scholarships, based on, their essays or if they get picked within the school, like during the application process and everything. So just wanted to let y'all know that. I mean, because you can get scholarships outside, third parties or whatever, you can still do that, but also within the school that you're applying for is what I'm saying. They will put on their different scholarships that you can apply for. You just need to make sure you do it by the deadline. And I think it can't have no more than 250 words and stuff like that. And I just say that because we got some scholarship. Well, we did. We got some scholarships through the school. But we still trying to get the ones outside too as well. So they actually do them too. The school.
Are you talking about the college or the high school?
The college,
okay.
Yeah. The college, yeah. So once you go through the application process, the college process or whatever, they will allow you to do essays to win scholarships or get scholarships within the college that you're applying for before the fall season start, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I think one of them was like 2,000, but she had to write an essay, of course, by May 31st or something like that. Yeah, so they do that too to help. Just let y'all know.
Yeah, you're right. The universities, you're right.
Yeah. So
all right, you guys.
This was good. Thank you so much. I just feel a little bit more smarter. This is a process. This is a true process, and it's crazy because my older boys, one full scholarship, didn't have to go through it. The oldest one did some student loans or whatever. So this baby right here said, I said, no, we're not doing no student loans. We're not doing it.
I have one more idea. I have a 5-gallon water jug that I put change in. So when the baby turned 1, just start dumping your change, and over 18 years, hopefully it's enough money for college.
Because I love tell you how much college is going to be then. Yeah, you know what, to be honest, never mind, because I hate to put us out there too. You don't be thinking about putting the college fund up and
No. You surviving sometimes.
Yeah, you in survival mode, and then here
Yeah.
we come,
Yeah.
But yeah, so but for those they get it early and congratulates like that 5 million, they
Yeah.
ooh, can I be your friend?
Yeah.
Not to get your money, to show me how to do this thing.
Uh-huh.
Come
Yeah.
on here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so but this was good. I'm definitely gonna be reaching out to you very, very, very soon. Okay.
Okay. All
So if
right.
you can
I'm
leave
gonna
me
be
your
sending you some
number.
scholarships.
Yes, ma'am, because she deserve it. She deserve everything that's coming to her, and she don't need to worry. We don't need to be worried about no money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting sleepy, y'all.
All right, you guys.
All
We will
right.
see y'all later. Thank you,
Thank you,
Shymika,
You're
for
guys, for
coming
welcome.
on.
This was
joining. Bye
fun. Thank
bye.
y'all.
Thank you.
This was a great show.
Let's go.